Welcome into the live stream here. McCready and Siskey. Tyler likes that music. He's just like, yeah.
Needs more cowbell.
Powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal. That's Tyler. We'll get started in just a minute. I'm really glad you brought Rain today. I'm going to tell you something new about Rain, by the way.
Okay.
When we get started, because I discovered something today. There was something that caused me to look into something, and I can bring even more good news. It won't matter to you at all. But there are people out there that this will matter to.
Yeah,
Trust me.
I got some news too about Rain.
All right.
I wonder if it's the same news.
I doubt it very seriously.
Okay.
I mean, I will be literally stunned.
Okay.
If it's the same.
All right. I got news from Bob.
Yeah, this news was not from Bob.
Okay.
Let's see. Everybody, thanks for being with us. We'll give everybody a couple minutes. I'm sorry I'm running a little late. We've had some rivals issues today, some Gateway 503 errors that
what does that mean?
Hell, I don't know. It means something wrong with the Gateway 503.
Why? It's just like
it's something to do with access. The way when you try to go from the main page to the message board,
gotcha.
It knocks you off.
You know, it's like when you run a computer business and you have an IT guy,
yeah, and
your computers are messed up. You say, "Hey, come here and fix this," and they come in there and they unplug it and plug it back in, and this magically works. I could have been a great IT guy.
That is the first thing you do.
Yeah. And it works 90% of the time.
If that doesn't work, then you know you have an issue.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
All right, so we're gonna get rolling here. Give me a minute to.
Yeah, I'm.
You're ready to go.
Yeah, I need something.
So let me get us started with our audio file. So we'll get rolling.
I came in with the heavy stuff today.
I saw that. I almost came and stole it from you, but then I saw what flavor I had, and I'm like, no, I'm good. All right, here we go. Welcome into episode 16 of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. God. I'm Neal McCready. That is one Tyler Siskey. You probably know by now.
You better hurry up and get to the Jimbo news before 45 minutes kicks in.
Yeah, I probably should get. Is there news with Jimbo?
No.
Okay. I was like, oh, so don't tease like that. Thanks everybody for being with us. Hope you had a great weekend. We'll get to that. Kyle has right off the bat. Kyle has a super chat. He wants to know, Tyler, what's to be thinking about this for a minute.
Yeah, let me think.
The worst meal ever served on a recruiting trip.
I'm assuming he's meaning worst tasting.
I think what he means is going to someone's house and a mom fixes a meal and it's bad or whatever. And
that's what I'm saying. Worst tasting meal.
Yeah, you got to get through it.
Good.
Oh yeah, we're good. I'm having to opening up a couple of things. All good. Opening up a
audio file.
No, open the audio file already. Thank God. I at least did that. I'm getting some of our ad reads.
I can answer this while
I can tell people that we're brought to you by Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits, achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I learned about Rain. This morning, over the weekend, I've been contemplating, I knew I needed to, I've been doing this intermittent fasting for a long time.
Yep.
And I knew based on going to the doctor for a procedure fairly recently that I needed to add more nutrients and such to my diet.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've been looking into was athletic greens.
Right.
You hear them advertised a lot.
Yes.
People rave about it. Well, this morning I was about to take my athletic greens, and I thought to myself, I wonder if this stops the fast. And so I did a little Googling, and it does.
Wow.
Not because it's bad for you, it's great for you, but it technically adds enough carbohydrate that it breaks your fast. And so if you're fasting, when you take athletic greens, it breaks the fast. And if you're like me and you're trying to go.
Yeah, what are you trying to get to? You mean you've lost
I'm trying to get, each day I'm trying to get between 16 and 18 hours of fasting. And so my next thought was, oh God, I wonder if Rain breaks the fast. I wonder if I've been sabotaging myself by drinking a Rain at 2:00. And I was almost in kind of a panic about it because I was like, I really enjoy my Rain at 2:00, and if I wait till 4 to drink it, I'm probably going to be like painting the ceilings, you know. And so I researched And rain does not
There you go.
break the fast. You might ask why. Well, because
Tell us, Neal.
I'm going to tell you. Because rain has no sugar.
Facts.
It does not have any. It only has 3 grams of carbohydrates. You have to have 6 to break the fast.
Yep.
And so, while it gives you a caffeine boost, obviously, it does not technically break the fast. I'm still fasting. So I can enjoy my rain carefree.
That is not the news I had today, for sure.
Well, I knew it didn't. I knew it wasn't. Had you come in and gone, guess what? I found out. I'd have been like, a son of a. This day is.
You've had a day.
I've had a day.
You've had 24 hours. How about that?
Literally 24 hours.
Yeah.
Well, 23 hours.
23 hours.
23 hours. It's been 23 hours of. Not chaos. That's not the right word. Well, but how would I describe this without
WTF?
Yeah, a little bit of WTF, where you just want to say to people,
WTF.
Come on, man. Right?
Yeah, I don't say come on, man. I'm trying to be good. Mom got on me again, so I'd be WTF MF. That would be my.
Yeah, and mine's more just not even the MF part, just the WTF part. Just
yeah,
like, what are you doing? What are we doing? Why can't we get on the same page here? Yeah. Why is this so hard?
What are we doing?
That's what she said. What are we doing?
You're on me.
What are we doing?
Explicit. I mean, we're going straight to.
Why is this so difficult? Why is this so difficult? Why is this so difficult to just get on the right page, do what we're supposed to do, where everybody walks away content? Why is this so difficult?
Welcome to my life for the last 20 years.
I couldn't have done it.
You got the good ones.
I couldn't have done it.
So my rain news is, I hope Bob doesn't get pissed for me saying this, but they're coming out in March with a line called Rainstorm.
Oh,
Rainstorm.
I like that.
And it's
what will Rainstorm be different from rain?
It's going to be a smaller can, but a whole different flavor line in a smaller can.
He tell you any flavors?
Did not yet.
Okay.
But he was up in Canada last week, so maybe that's what he was going on his recon mission. So that's good stuff.
How fast can you break the fast when you are trying to fast? I think that's a riddle. I don't know.
Yeah, you got me there, boss.
My window, my eating window here more lately has been like 3:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
So it's like a 5-hour window.
Aren't you supposed to go from like 11 to 7 or something? That normal? Like eat lunch and then eat lunch and then eat dinner and call it?
A lot of people do. Yeah, a lot of people their eating window is earlier, and that way they can get 2 meals in. I don't want to eat 2 meals. I want to eat just a snack and a meal.
Okay, that's fair.
So that way I'd set mine that way. And I noticed when I went from, this stands to reason, when I went from 2 meals to 1, that the weight loss accelerated pretty fast.
Well, you think?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a math problem.
Math.
Yeah.
Weight loss is math. It just is, unless you have some sort of a thyroid issue or something. Weight loss is math.
Yeah, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So what's going on? You had a big weekend?
I did. I was healthy, but not as big as you, my friend.
You know, every once in a while,
I want to congratulate you, though.
Every once in a while, it all works out. I didn't do particularly well in the NFL, but
yeah, nobody does well in the NFL first week. But if you do, you're a liar.
But I did. Yeah, that was crazy, huh? But yeah. I did well. I did well in the college game.
So how about this? If you followed just Neal's picks on Saturday, and you did the old, which I do every week on my picks, I put a little $20 parlay just in case. I usually go perfect twice a year. You would have won $1,250 off of a $20 bet on my man Neal.
Yeah, I told my wife that, and she said, and I said, well, see, here's the other side of that. If you don't, you lose that money. So, and she's like, who'd you bet on? And I started telling her, and her eyes glazed over. Yeah. So I was like,
you lost her with UTSA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, literally, she went, who's that? I said, Texas San Antonio. And she goes, they play? Well, yeah. Oh, and just.
Yeah. So you went, counting the NFL, you went 8-3 this weekend. You had a loss last night. You had the Cowboys.
Yeah, I did.
So this week you made up 5.7 units this week. So now your total unit, you're 9-7-1 overall. Your total units, you're in the positive now.
Okay.
Plus 2.7.
All right.
I went 6-5. I went 4-2 on Saturday. If I'm nothing else, you can't say if I've been nothing else, I've been consistent. I've been 4-2 the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Week after week after week after week. We'll go over the games in a second.
Yep.
But I'm now 10, and I went 2-3 just like you in the NFL yesterday. So now I'm 10-7, and I'm plus 3.73 units. So we're down almost to 1.03 units.
So we're really close.
We're really close
on who has to go to Boise, Idaho,
with no jacket.
No jacket. You can wear gloves. You can wear hat.
Glove and hats. Fair.
You can wear. You have to really be careful. I've been giving it thought about how.
You already conceding before we even get started?
No, but I'm preparing for.
That's what the NFL's here for. The NFL's where you end up making it up.
Yeah, the NFL week one's hard.
Week one's hard.
Week one's hard.
If I'd known what I know about the Cowboys, I'd bet my life on the Buccaneers last night.
And I didn't think Tampa looked particularly good.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we'll go over my picks.
All right, you ready to go?
I had New Orleans minus 5.5 over Atlanta. Saints won but did not cover.
That's correct. Did you watch the game?
I watched part of it. I was mainly watching the Cincinnati debacle.
All right, so let's talk. I want to talk about a little bit about this game because it happened in the Cincinnati game as well, and I was really shocked. In the NFL, the coach has an earpiece in the helmet. They call the plays.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they let Jameis spike the ball with 20 seconds to go on the clock? Because the coach is in the headset. I know how it works. He's calling plays, so he's going clock it, or spike it, whatever you want to call it. And instead of going, hey, let's run it down to 4 right here because it's early in the play clock. So
I wonder if it was so loud that he could not hear. Because if you notice, there were several times. If you notice, there were several times in the Cincinnati game that Burrow, when it was getting loud, Burrow was really trying to focus to hear. Like you could tell he was not hearing well.
Yeah, but I don't know, man.
I'm just trying to defend my guy Jameis. I'm trying to.
But you got to be. I mean, you're an NFL quarterback, a starting NFL quarterback.
Yep.
You have to have more game awareness than that.
Yeah,
that was bad ball.
He kind of got panicked a little. Yeah,
and he goes and spikes it, and then he's like, he realized it, and nobody's talking about it. Why? Because they won the game. But if that guy, if Koo would have hit a 63-yard field goal,
yeah,
they'd be talking about it
a lot.
Well, let's turn around in the Bengals game.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody's even talking about it today. He punts the ball on 4th down in overtime with 20-something seconds left on the play clock. And punts it back he gives Pittsburgh an extra 18 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't think Zach Taylor coached a very good game. I'll be honest with you. They drive down the field, they score on the final play of the game to tie it. And when you see the snap on the extra point, you have to at that point go, okay, we can't depend on the kicking game. Pittsburgh, at the end of that game, lost Watt, the defensive end.
Tore his pec.
He came off the field going, I tore my pec. He knew he had torn his pec. Their defense was not the same without Watt.
And it won't be.
Right. So as you're driving down the field in overtime, you get a stop, you get the ball back, and you're driving down the field, you've got to be thinking, hey, we can't approach this conventionally. I was saying this out loud.
Yeah.
My son was in here. I have a witness. You can't approach this because conventional is once you get down there, set it up wherever McPherson wants it, kick it, go home. Hey, we win. And conventionally, McPherson makes the extra point. It's over 21-20, and you win. And
right.
Right?
Yep.
But at this point, you're driving down the field, and it's 3rd down. I know what you said because you and I texted about it. I realized that, if there's a bad snap, you can just fall on it and redo it. If there's a bad snap, the odds are the next snap's going to be bad. Your timing's bad. You've got Wilcox, the backup tight end, in there snapping. He did the best he could. Actually, I thought one of his snaps was okay.
Well, the blocked extra point was fine.
It was a little slow.
But that's what people are talking about that.
But my point is that you know this, right? You know this. These kickers and holders and snappers, especially at the professional level,
yeah,
they're the best. everything is so on time that when you mess with it, you just mess with it.
Let me tell you how good they are. People, and I tell people this, and this is something the fans have never probably heard of in their life. And I was a coach for 15 years before I heard this. And it was my man Lawrence Tynes is the one who told me. So if you notice when they kick field goals or PATs, they're not necessarily like you go to a college game or a high school game, they're going to put the ball on the 3, they're going to put the spot on the 10-yard line. In NFL, you'll see them move around a little bit, just a little bit, not a lot, but it may be the 9 3/4, maybe 10 1/4. They move the spot because to where the long snapper, when they catch it, all they have to do is put it down and the laces are already out. Like the long snappers are so good that they know the distance of when the holder catches the ball.
Yes.
When he catches it, all he has to do is put it down because the laces are already going to be there.
So
that's how good the NFL
on the missed field goal on the 3rd down.
Where were the laces?
The laces were facing the kicker because my point was this. You're driving down the field. Score. Just go score a touchdown. And if for some reason you can't, well, then you have to kick it on 4th down. But there's no point in doing that. I thought Taylor gave a game away.
Yeah.
That's it.
I never understood in the past why we did that sometimes, because I've been on staffs that we did the same thing on 3rd down or whatever. You go ahead and take a shot. Oh, if it's a bad snap. Never had it happen to where we had to use it.
Right.
But that was the whole point of doing it, and you had a bad snap, which is high. Just stop it. Just hold on the ball.
But that's not what they're going to do. You always know that the holder is going to try to put the damn ball down.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just
because he's a backup punter, he's scared, or he's a punter, he's scared he's going to lose his job. But
you just keep driving.
Now the block PAT was the same problem we talked about last week with LSU.
Yeah,
he literally lets Minkah Fitzpatrick just come. He goes outside pressure and lets the guy Minkah run the inside gap.
But the snap was so slow that it gave Minkah Fitzpatrick an extra second. And at that level, that's
it wasn't
big.
A second slow.
It was a full second.
Neal,
Tyler,
full second.
The ball flowed.
Do you know?
And he had to reach up.
Do you know what a good snap time, a good operation time is?
I don't know the number.
1.2. Do you know what his probably came in there about? 1.4.
No way. No chance.
A high school kid will snap it between 1.4 and 1.5.
I saw the snap.
You're being a fan, Neal. You're being a fan.
I watched the snap. It was really slow.
It wasn't that bad.
By the way, he's out for several weeks. They're having the guy that they cut. That was actually, if you follow the Bengals closely, and I do, that was one of the competitions that was kind of came down to the end was long snapper.
Well, do you know who they're about to bring back in the camp?
I can't remember the guy's name.
Whoever the guy.
Yeah, that guy.
Those guys are. You talking about having a long career in the NFL?
If you can snap, oh yeah.
My guy Richard Owens, who we'll talk about in a minute because he's the offensive line coach at the Georgia Southern Eagles, which we'll talk about in a minute. But
yeah, we will.
He was a backup tight end and backup long snapper. He played forever because of his special team skills.
All right, so I had Carolina minus 1.5.
Yep.
Versus Cleveland. They did not cover. It was a good game.
All right, I lost that one as well. Also got it at -1, and then they shit in their Easter basket. Money-wise, me betting, I got it at -1 on Sunday, and I was at least going to push, but no, couldn't do that either.
I took Justin Herbert and the Chargers -3.5 versus Vegas. Great game. Chargers win and cover.
There may be a little trouble, though. They lost some receivers yesterday.
Yeah.
Not trouble, but they'll be fine just in the next few weeks.
I had Dallas +2.5.
All right.
Versus Tampa Bay. Dallas did not cover. Tampa won 19-3.
We got
Dak Prescott out for a while.
I think we got an NFL problem here.
All right.
With Dallas, Jerry Jones and those guys are really at a crossroads right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Dak's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with his thumb.
Yep.
All right. I've had the injury. They're going to go in there, and the tendons. What happens is the tendon tears away from your thumb right here, and it rips a chunk of the bone off. So they have to go in there with a pin and tack that back down.
Okay.
So once it heals and you're out of the cast, it's not normal. It's not like, it takes a long time, and it's on his throwing hand.
Mm-hmm.
When he comes back, he already has a tough enough time accuracy.
Yep.
He's going to have a very difficult time coming back. So what do? They go get Jimmy G? What's the move here?
Right now, they're saying they're going to stick with the other guy that they have. If you're the Niners, based on what Trey Lance did yesterday, you're not trading Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, yeah, I'm 100% agree with you personally. from an organizational standpoint, you're going to throw that away on the water. That was a shit show of a game. Your Bears got lucky, by the way. They played in the rain.
I know. My son came down, and we were watching the end of the games, and he said, "Just so you know," I didn't know where he was going. He goes, "Just so you know, if the Bears played the Bengals, I'd still cheer for the Bears." And I'm like, "Get out!
Yeah, you're out of
here. Get the hell out of the house. You're on your own." No,
yeah,
I didn't. I just said, "Why?" And he goes, "I just like Justin Fields." And I said, "Okay."
Let's say this. So the problem with the Cowboys is not just. I mean, they're in trouble at receiver. Okay, you have CeeDee Lamb. That's it.
Yeah.
And he's played slot.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're playing slot in the NFL, you can get bracketed so easy, it's ridiculous. They'll cover those guys up if that's the only weapon.
It's almost like Jerry Jones trying to play the role of fantasy football owner with a real team has screwed up his team.
Yeah. And then Ezekiel Elliott, okay, which is his prime is coming to an end.
It's there.
He actually looked good
He did
last night.
But
can he sustain that?
If I'm Dallas, instead of trying to salvage this, I might steer into this.
Don't say the tank word. They're not going to need.
Well,
any help tanking.
I don't know that you can tank in Dallas and get away with it. But if I'm them, I might steer into this. I'm just telling you, I might steer into this. I might look at where I am, and this is where you got to have somebody in the room that goes, "Hey, I mean this respectfully, but we're not a Super Bowl team. We're not."
No. And they wouldn't be if Dak was healthy.
And right. That just goes, we're not a Super Bowl team. Let's keep this real. In the NFC, let's discuss the teams that are probably better than us. Green Bay, Minnesota, just better than Dallas. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Tampa, probably New Orleans, maybe Carolina.
Philly in your own division.
Philly, maybe Washington. Out west, who's better than us?
Arizona.
The Rams, certainly. Probably Arizona. Probably San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco for sure.
So we're not a Super Bowl team. So if we're not a Super Bowl team, rather than giving all of this money to aging dudes,
yeah,
it's time to rebuild our roster. And I know that we're going to get lit up like a Christmas tree. And Jerry, Mr. Jones, sir, put your Twitter down. Put your phone down. Just ignore it for a little while. Let's do this the right way. We can rebuild quickly here. We're the Dallas Cowboys. That's what I would be saying. Because if you don't steer into this, if you fight it and you go get Garoppolo, right? Does Jimmy Garoppolo make this team a Super Bowl contender? No, he doesn't. And so if you're not, this is kind of like the difference is this. I use a Braves analogy. A year ago when they won the World Series, and when Acuna got hurt,
yep,
they had a decision to make. And Alex Anthopoulos made it the right way. He looked at his roster, he looked at his team, and he said, is there a scenario in which we are a playoff team? Because if the answer is no, then maybe it's time to unload some people. Acknowledge that, hey, this is a lost season. He ran in, he got hurt, tore his ACL. We're not going to be the same team without him. We don't have enough. Instead, he looked at it and he said, you know what? I think I have enough pitching. If we can just put a few bats out here together. And he went out and did some low risk. And he got
Jacques, Soler.
Yeah. Brought
Duvall.
in some, Adam Duvall was the name I was trying to think of. Brought in some guys who were relatively inexpensive on expiring deals and said, hey, let's roll the dice. If it works out, awesome. If it doesn't, no harm. Give up some low-level prospects, no big deal. And he struck gold.
Yeah.
Right? But the point was not that he won the World Series. The point was that it made sense to continue on. If you're Dallas, does Jimmy Garoppolo really change your equation? Does Jimmy Garoppolo make you a Super Bowl contender?
All right, I would say if I look, and you know how I feel about the whole tanking deal and not competing. That's just not my DNA.
I know it's not.
If I was the GM of the Dallas Cowboys, I would be on the phone today, and I would be making 2 phone calls.
I love cherry limeade, by the way. This is really good.
Yeah, it is. Really good.
It's. I've only had it a couple of times. It's way up there. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's really good.
Makes me thirsty too. But I would make a phone call to Jimmy G to see if he's available. He's probably not going to be available because you're probably not going to want to pick up the contract. But 2, here's what I would do. There's other guys. I guarantee Seattle will get rid of Drew Lock. Drew Lock's going to be better than what you have.
Okay, I might do that.
You know what I'm saying? That's going the Alex Anthopoulos way.
Right. What I'm saying is I don't invest in another big contract that now when Dak comes back in 8 weeks, I've got this issue.
Right. You're going to have, you got, and I'm not saying this guy's the answer either, but you're going to have Sam Darnold out in Carolina that's going to be available.
Yep.
You're going to have other guys that are going to be available to get that have NFL experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now the quarterback that rush is not going to be able to run and play in the NFL. And you can't. Ezekiel Elliott is not the guy that you can hand the ball off to 50 times a game. He can't carry a franchise. But here's the other guy I'm calling, who is a free agent and is sitting at home right now.
Okay.
I'm calling OBJ. I'm calling Odell Beckham, and I'm putting him on the outside to get some pressure off of CeeDee Lamb because that's what they're missing. Amari Cooper's gone to Cleveland. Gallup's out with ACL. They have no outside receivers. And so now CeeDee Lamb is getting freaking hammered. Did you watch? He was getting stroked last night.
Here's what's coming for them, though. We're getting bogged down on the Cowboys.
Yeah, I know. We got to go.
They got Cincinnati at home Sunday.
Loss.
They got to go to the Giants next Monday, the 26th.
Loss.
Well, if that's a loss, then it's over at that point because they get Washington at home, at the Rams, at the Eagles. And the point is that the schedule's brutal early, and if you can't solve your quarterback issues. Let's say you come out of this. Let's go 0-2. Let's give them a loss to the Giants. Give them a split with the Giants and Washington. That's 1-3. They lose to the Rams, lose to the Eagles. That's 1-5. Beat the Lions at home, 2-5. Beat the Bears at home, 3-5. Go to Green Bay and lose. You're 3-6 when you go to Minnesota on November the 20th. It's over at that point. You're not making the playoffs, and you still have the Giants. You get the Colts at home. You get the Texans at home. Those are a couple of wins in December. I'm trying to get
Hardman. OBJ got cleared in August, boss.
They still have to play the Eagles. The schedule's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. He may be saying he's recovering, but he got cleared by the ACL in August. All right, let's move on because we're going.
All right, and then I had Washington. I had Washington minus 2.5 against the Jags. Washington won and covered.
It's a good game though.
It was a good game. I'm glad I did not do the Arizona money line. They got whacked by the Chiefs.
I thought about you.
And then in the college game.
All right, here we go. Now we're getting to fun stuff.
I had UTSA minus 2.5.
In overtime, baby. Walked it off.
At Army, and they walked it off with the win. Dun, 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 dun. I had Houston plus 3.5 at Texas Tech. They lose by 3 in the OT.
Yeah, they had their chances to win the game outright.
Should have won. Had a fourth down that I'm sure they are kicking themselves over right now. I had my boys down in Lafayette. Whip on Eastern Michigan.
It was a close game before the delay, and then came out. And I was going like 40-0 after
mauled them. So I got a cover there. I laid 13.5. I covered. I had Oklahoma State minus 11. You did. Oklahoma State minus 11 against Arizona State. The Cowboys took care of that business.
Yep.
And then I had Texas State minus the 14 against
FIU,
a bad FIU team. No offense to everybody down there. It just is what it is. Texas State covered. And then my guy, Kane Womack. If you're listening, Kane.
He may be. They practiced this morning.
Appreciate you. He knew that I was putting him down as my money line bet of the week.
He did know that.
He did. He told me he thought it was a good bet.
All right, so we'll get into the Sun Belt here in a minute. But the cool thing is people don't know is LaDamian Webb. He was the player of the year in the state of Alabama, signed at Mississippi State, and then didn't qualify. Went to Jones, was really good. We recruited him here in the midst of all the chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Ends up going to Florida State. Coach, he plays running back at Florida State last year. And now he's at South Alabama. And so he's got him at running back. He's got Jalen Wayne, who's going for a hundo first 2 games. That's the last kid I recruited. That's Reggie Wayne's nephew. He's like 6'4", 228 or something as a receiver. He'll be an NFL guy. And then he's got Gus Bradley, the former coach at Jacksonville Jaguars. His son is playing quarterback, and he's really good. They're loaded up, dude. He's got a squad, and they're good on defense. So, all right, you ready to go through this misery?
Let's do it.
Because these are games we're going to want to talk about.
Let's do it.
I had Alabama minus 19.5.
Oh, boy. And they escape Austin with a 1-point win.
All right. I've had a lot of time to think about this.
Yep.
Not really. I mean, it's the same thing. I really haven't changed my opinion since I got 50,000 people called me on Saturday. What's going on? Even my mother even called. What do you think is going on? It's
such a religion in that state.
It really is.
It's so hard to explain to people.
And my mom's not even an Alabama fan. She's an Auburn fan.
Yeah, but it's just a religion. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so it was really easy for me. It's probably the most, since I have been following Nick Saban's career, and I said career, that's probably the most undisciplined team I've seen take the field for 60 minutes playing under him.
What do you attribute that to?
I don't know. The concerning part was not that if it was some freshman or some new kid that's out there making mistakes, that'll happen. But when Will Anderson jumps off sides, I know at least twice, maybe more than that. I don't know. I know twice.
Lost his cool.
And then hits the kid late on the boundary, extending drives. That's a problem. It's a fixable problem. And let me tell you something. And me and you have talked about this before. I would not want to be employed by the University of Alabama this week.
Bad week.
Because you're playing he already is going to be on juice because you're playing Monroe. But it's going to be double bad because he knows he's got things to fix, and he won't really know Saturday if he fixed them or not.
Yeah.
That's the truth. But, offensively, they're struggling in pass protection right now, especially at the tackle position. They're fine in the run game. They run block fine. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing in the run game. But pass protection.
But they don't have the back. I know they have good backs, but they don't have that dude back there that they've become accustomed to having so far.
Again, I think they do. I feel good with the two they got back there. Yeah. I'm not hating on those guys. I think they're really good players. They just, they were running for, I don't know what they ran for Saturday, but they broke a 80-something yarder, and Jahmyr Gibbs is Jahmyr Gibbs. He had like 7 touches in the first 7. That's the thing is I don't think it's the backfield that's the problem. I think they're hurting with guys on the outside to take the pressure off the backfield.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's interesting to me, and I know where it came out of. It came out of that building. It came out of that program. This is the best team that he's had. I wonder how much of that was them going, Bryce Young's back. Will Anderson's back. We're adding Gibbs. We got this just super talented team, and yet at the line of scrimmage, they look a little different. And in coverage, and you normally expect Saban coach teams to be elite in the defensive secondary.
That was concerning. Now, the kid that can run now, but it doesn't matter. If you're playing well enough at what you're supposed to do, you don't get beat over the top that much.
Yeah, and the truth is they got kind of – if Ewers doesn't go out of that game, and this is hard. I realize if you're an Alabama fan and you hear this, you're like, shut up. And I get it completely. But I can't help but wonder if Ewers doesn't go out of that game, does Texas hit another couple of big plays? And if they do, this thing's
I don't know if you have to. I don't know if you even have to go that far. I just think they're more effective in the red zone. That's all you got to say.
Yeah.
I don't think you even got to say they don't have to score again. Just make one of those field goals a touchdown.
So, based on what you saw Saturday, and this is overreaction to one game potentially, but do you change your projection for Alabama?
No.
You still think they go undefeated, 12-0?
Yes, I don't.
Is it?
I've been here before. I've seen this song and dance. I'm not going to be the guy that goes Captain Hot Take. Alabama's going 8-4, 9-3.
Oh no,
10-2 or 11-1.
I think the question that I had watching it was, so I'll post it to you the same way I did to Chase. You saw them struggle at Texas.
Yeah,
they've got 4 pretty interesting SEC road games waiting for them. They still, I don't know what order. They still have to go to. I think it's at Arkansas.
Which is what I said if they lost one. At
Tennessee, at Ole Miss, at LSU. And I might not have that order exactly right. If I told you the over-under on that was 3.5, you'd.
I'm always going to take the over on that. I mean,
okay.
And his teams typically lose a game here and there, but I'm not going to sit there and pick it. You know what I mean? I mean, you're going to be. I've seen this song and dance before. You know, I mean. We've had the infamous every time they lose, it's over. You know, he's too old. He can't do this every freaking time.
Yeah, no.
And guess what happens? He ends up winning national championship.
He ends up winning. Yeah. But they were fortunate Saturday.
But
I mean, they really were.
Could Alabama played much worse than what they played Saturday?
I don't know. Tell me.
I don't think so. I mean, that was pretty bad. And Texas is at home with all the juice, and they played great, and they looked good.
They did look good.
And they still couldn't win the game.
I think the teams, at least 2 of the teams that I just listed,
All right, who's the second best team? Let's take Georgia out because I think Georgia's in Alabama's class. Besides Georgia, if you had one SEC team to ride with, who are you going with?
Today?
Yep.
Who? All right, can we do it as a thought exercise for a minute?
Just quick. It's not a.
Okay. No,
who would you go with?
I'm taking you through my thinking process. I like what I see from Kentucky at the line of scrimmage. Okay. I like that I have Will Levis, who gives me a guy with all the tools, if we can protect him, to score. And defensively, I think we're going to be good enough to stay in games. And if you put the ball in Levis's hands with that physical attack, I like what we could achieve. I'd think about Arkansas because offensively, against Cincinnati and South Carolina, it's always interesting to me that as soon as a team beats a team, all of a sudden the other team sucks. Right? Yeah. Everybody goes, South Carolina sucks. The same people who all year go, watch out for South Carolina.
Yeah, they're not bad.
No, and they don't suck. They're really well coached.
Yep.
I would feel okay about. I don't think Arkansas can be the second best team in the league. I just don't think they can get there. I think defensively they have too many deficiencies. I don't like their defensive front.
They have a massive eyesore at corner right now.
Yeah, I don't like their defensive front. They have some issues on the back end. Now their linebackers are good. Sanders, the kid that transferred from Alabama, is a stud.
The only thing keeping them from being the number 2 team in the SEC right now, the number 2 team in the West right now, is depth in secondary. In my opinion,
it's a problem. Their linebackers are really good. Poole is a really good player. Sanders is a really good player.
I like the rest of them.
Yeah, and they have other dudes that come in. And offensively, they're better than they were a year ago. I mean, people keep doing this thing about Trayvon Burks, and I'm just telling you, they're better than they were a year ago offensively.
Yeah, it makes them more diverse.
They have more people. They have
harder to defend.
And Kendall's calling good games. And I like what they're doing with KJ. He does a good job of minimizing his weaknesses. I'd think about Tennessee just because that offense is dynamic, but the defense is not.
Yep.
I wouldn't go with A&M. I can tell you that.
So you've kind of narrowed it down, though, right?
Yeah, I think so. And so I come back to it's Alabama.
I'm talking about if you didn't have Alabama or you didn't have Georgia, who would you?
I think I'd take Kentucky.
Okay, so let's take Kentucky.
Okay.
Kentucky goes to Austin this weekend and has 16 penalties in the first 3 quarters and 180 yards of offense in that game.
They lose.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Is no other team besides Georgia. I don't even think Ohio State could get away with it.
No, I agree with that.
I think those are the only.
I'm not wowed by Ohio State just yet.
Yeah, and there's just so all the overreaction today and over the weekend of Alabama's mortal. Yeah, everybody's mortal. Don't get me wrong, everybody's mortal. But like that was your shot. You know what I mean? Now let me say this on the flip side that this is what was going through my mind Saturday and what I felt terrible about is if Alabama loses that game, they would have to literally run the table and beat Georgia. They would have to basically go undefeated in the SEC to make the playoff.
Yeah.
That was what was going through my mind because the SEC is a grind, and if they lose a game, they'll be okay.
What went through my mind was just watching it, me thinking, okay, well, you know what? Even if they survive all these road games, if a whole bunch of them are close and then Georgia whacks them pretty good in the SEC title game, people might look at them and go, it's not the same Alabama, and they might go a different direction. With the 4. That's what I was thinking. And that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? We got weeks and weeks and weeks. But
yeah, that
they
was my
did.
point.
But the point is that they did look really mortal for the first time. People go, hey, they're mortal. Yeah, they are. And they didn't look like what we are used to them looking like.
And I've said this before, and me and you have talked about this off the air, and if I've talked about it on here, I apologize. I can't describe it to you. It's literally like being brainwashed. But at like in that game, I guarantee it was the same way. The doubt of you're going to lose a game.
They never doubted.
It never creeps in. And it's not just the players. It's everybody in the organization. And you don't even, like, everywhere else I've been, you'd be like, oh, shit, we gotta do this. We got to get out of our game plan.
No, they just took the ball and drove it down. And, dude, I'm telling you now, Bryce Young, the play that he made to avoid getting popped.
Special.
Because that kid was barreling in on him. He makes
ball game.
He makes the stop right there, and it's almost certainly lights out.
Yeah. But just when it's like if you beat them, but there's like I can't describe that to people. You know, if you're a coach or you're a player, you'll understand this. But the doubt that you're ever going to lose a game, never creeps in. Like I remember, we get the shit kicked out of us in the Sugar Bowl against Oklahoma, and I looked at the clock. I'm like, oh, there's no time left. We just lost the game. Like to that point, not like, man, you know, taking a knee or whatever. I mean, it's just kind of is what it is. All right, Arkansas had Arkansas at -6 against South Carolina. I do want to give South Carolina credit. They had every opportunity to quit, and they didn't.
Oh, for sure.
And they kept battling and battling and battling. I'll give them credit for that. But like we talked about a minute ago, I think Arkansas is special. I do. I'm on the train, minus their secondary issues, and they got a very bad problem on the right corner that they got to get fixed.
Is that you're referring to Clark or the other one?
The white kid.
Oh yeah.
He's terrible. And he was getting picked on all day. That was like their whole game plan was throwing it against him. And
yeah, if Rattler were more effective with the deep ball, that would have been a different game because of that.
Yeah, but they were pressuring him. And look, you'll hear me say this a bunch. You don't have to sack a quarterback to affect him.
Right.
All you got to do is hit his ass, and it works.
Well, they did a really good job with some of their linebacker blitzes, calling them up at the right time. And Sanders got home a lot. Poole got home a lot. They're really solid at linebacker.
Ask Pitt about that today, which is the next game.
Okay.
Tennessee -6. I had them. You're talking about, good teams win, great teams cover. Went to overtime.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed though. Tennessee had them dead to rights. They should have. I was expecting Tennessee to come out in the second half. Okay, Slovis is out.
Yeah.
He's hurt. He didn't come back in the second half.
Right.
You got a backup quarterback in there, and they were already struggling moving the ball a little bit. And you had every opportunity to open that game up. Now, this is talking about overreaction Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's back. Here we go. Rocky Top. I'm just saying, a really good team, if you're as good as we're talking about them being,
right,
should have opened that game up.
I will say this, in defense of Pitt, I guess in defense of Tennessee to some degree, is it Narduzzi at Pittsburgh has done one hell of a job.
Yeah.
And like you watch them play, and the one thing that strikes me about them is that I catch myself talking about this a lot, so I apologize to everyone. I need to get better, but it's on my mind a lot because I guess I'm talking to more people in football these days. You can see team culture; it stands out, and they've got it. Another team that believes. They just believe. Hey, next up, they did not panic.
Yeah.
Without Slovis, they just kept going.
But then he's a standing target because he gets hurt.
Yeah.
Because Tennessee was. I'll give him credit for this. They had a game plan, and they were going after him, and they got home, and they got home a lot. I'm telling you, the Pitt quarterback room, they hurt on Sunday morning, brother.
Yeah.
I mean, they were beat to hell.
Look, I like Tennessee. I'm just going to tell you, Tennessee's good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man,
that Tennessee-Florida game next week
bothered me.
Yeah, that Tennessee-Florida game next week is going to be really interesting.
It will be that. I don't know what I'm doing yet. And speaking of,
yep,
I was wrong. I will tell everybody when I was wrong. I was dead ass wrong on Kentucky, Florida.
Yeah, I was too. Well, I'm mad at myself because I've ridden Kentucky for a year and a half, and then I bail on them, and it's like, what am I doing? I'm listening to too many people. I like Kentucky. I think they're really good. I've been telling Ole Miss people for months now that, hey, that Kentucky game October the 1st, that's going to be a war. If you're not ready for that one, I've had people going, oh, that's a W. Get them at home. I'm like, dude, I'm just telling you that you are.
People are saying the Kentucky Ole Miss game.
Not many, but I've had a few Ole Miss people go, oh yeah, we got that. That's at home. I'm like, I'm just going to tell you that they're different. They are physical up front.
Here's where I was wrong, and I guess I was technically right for the first half. I wasn't right for the second half. I went in. The reason I picked them is the game is won and lost on the line of scrimmage. We all know that.
Yeah.
And I sat there and watched Miami of Ohio push Kentucky around on both sides of the ball for 60 minutes. And you know what? For the first 30 minutes in that game, Florida did too. Kentucky had 1 yard rushing at halftime. One.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, hey, and we had, and my man AR-15's out there throwing 87 picks, has no touch on the ball. He's throwing straight rocket launchers through people's face. Just have a little touch. Now, the play that the kid made, the outside backer made, was one-hand pick. That's impressive. That doesn't happen very often. But at the same time, they had 2 short fields in the first half Kentucky did to get points. And so I thought, okay, we're good to go. They'll stretch it out. But in the second half, Kentucky for the last 30 minutes of that second half dominated the game up front and took over the game, and that's where they won and they covered. I was actually pretty impressed with that. All right, then I had Mississippi State minus 10.5 covered, fairly easy cover, but they should have beat them a lot worse than they did, and it was fine. Arizona's a bad football team. Quarterback's terrible. But that was one of those games they covered, and you never even worried about them not covering. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, they just had control of the game. I stayed up to 2 o'clock in the morning watching that one and finished at like 1:48.
It was late.
1:48.
I didn't quite make it to the end.
Yeah, I don't think so. And we're going to end my picks with this one.
Yep.
The Quick U Team of the Week. So we usually do one Team of the Week. We had to do 2 this week. Quick U Team of the Week.
Had to?
We had to do 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was an executive decision made by the CEO of Siskey & Associates.
Wasn't personal at all.
No, it wasn't. The Quick U Team of the Week is the Iowa State Cyclones with a dominant performance.
Dominant. Oh, stop.
Bringing home the Cy-Hawk Trophy to Ames. My Cyclones, my guys up there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was actually a very entertaining game. I was cussing the Iowa State punt team there for a little bit. They got two punt blocks. Like, how do we do this, guys? But a lot of punts blocked this weekend. Every game seemed like I have punt block.
You know, I'm really pissed off at.
I was trying to let you out of that one. Did you see how smooth I was? And you're going to dive right back into it.
I'm really pissed off at Iowa's defense. Defense? Yes. Going in, you're going to have to score 14 points on defense, so do it. Like, score. Don't give the offense the ball at the 1 yard line. Just score. In all seriousness, I cannot believe he fumbled at the 1. Just you score right there.
Talking about the Iowa State guy?
Iowa fumbled at the 1 too. No, we created turnovers.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were talking about when our guy jumped over the top of the pile and fumbled going into the end zone. It's tit for tat. It's all equal.
People are discussing the whole game day thing.
Game day
coming to Oxford for the Ole Miss Kentucky game. I don't know who else plays that day. The one
it'll be on the list.
It'll be on the list
for sure.
The one for sure that I think could eliminate it is if, assuming Arkansas beats Missouri State, if Arkansas beats Texas A&M and Alabama's undefeated, Arkansas hosting Alabama, they probably would go there because they haven't been to Fayetteville in forever.
Yeah, you're either getting SEC Nation or College Game Day. I think that's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'll get one of those other.
They might come for Kentucky though, because Kentucky's 9th right now. Who does Kentucky have? They have Youngstown State, and then who do they have next week? Do you know?
No, I don't. I know that they're going to win.
So Kentucky would be 7th or so. If Ole Miss beats Georgia Tech and Tulsa, they're 20th right now. They'd be like 16th-ish, 15th-ish.
What are they right now?
20.
Yeah,
16.
15, 16, somewhere there.
Yeah, so
that's fair.
You'd have number 16 hosting number 7. Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, it depends on what's going on that week.
The other one would Arkansas sitting at 10 right now. If they beat A&M and Missouri State, they'd be 8th, 7th. Alabama's right now number 2. They'd still be number 2. You'd go to Fayetteville because you were in Oxford just last November.
If they don't get you that weekend, they can catch you in Nashville the next week when you play Vandy.
Well, I'm sure they probably look at Ole Miss's schedule and go, if Ole Miss does what Ole Miss might do, hey, we could catch Ole Miss in November when Bama comes to town.
The fair thing is they're wanting, I think, game day after last year, and I've actually heard this, so take it for what it's worth.
Oh, NC State at Clemson that weekend. That might be where they go to.
That will be, yeah, that's a good one. But here's the overall deal, and you see what they're doing this week. They're going to App State and Troy and Boone.
Yeah.
Game day got really criticized last year by, I guess, game day fatigue, I guess is the right word, and crowds were not showing up.
Yeah.
And they need juice. And they know that the Grove is on the short list of places that will be juiced up. So the Grove's always going to be on the short list if you got a premier game.
Well, they've come twice and gotten huge receptions.
Yeah. So I wouldn't. If you do your job, they'll show up.
There are people who are tired of it being in Tuscaloosa and tired of it being in.
Well, just people don't show up. And if you look at,
right,
a lot of these games are 8:00 games. I mean, no fan who wants to show up at 8 a.m. for an 8 p.m. game. And I don't want to do that. But All right, let's move on a little bit. We're rolling today. All right, do you want to talk about the Sun Belt, or you want to talk about Scott Frost? Because I don't know if we can do both.
We can do both. We'll just have to. First, I will tell you while we're doing that, we're brought to you by Walk-On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day. It's not going to be Michigan, Iowa, because Iowa lost. If Iowa would have beaten Iowa State, they might have done Michigan, Iowa, because I think that's a fun place for them to go.
Is that for the Casper mattress go to sleep bowl?
You know what? Your attitude leaves a lot to be desired. Walk-Ons puts everything they've got. You need to go to Walk-Ons and get something, get in a better frame of mind. Tom.
Miller Lite would be great.
Get a big Miller Lite. Get
ribeye po' boy sandwich.
Get their made from scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, 70 plus TVs, 40 ice cold beers on tap. So if you're in Oxford or Ridgeland this weekend, looking to go watch some games, looking to watch Ole Miss, let's say at 2:30, you got three really good games, or three interesting games, two potentially really good ones. Ole Miss at Georgia Tech, you got Penn State at Auburn. You got Vanderbilt at Northern Illinois. It's an interesting game. You got a lot on the screens. So sit there and you can go to Walk-Ons and make it happen. And also don't forget, inquire today about their family and friends bundles. Their tailgate platters you can order online at walkons.com, or you can use their convenient Walk-Ons app. We're also brought to you by Clean Side Wipes. They're the EPA 2021 Safer Choice Partner of the Year. They're EPA Enlist approved. Kills COVID in 30 seconds. The only one on the market. Broad spectrum hospital grade antimicrobial efficacy. Citric acid base. No harsh chemicals. Simple one step. I read this sort of like the Iowa offense. Just sort of stumble. Simple one step. No rinse, cleaning, and disinfecting. Removes film left over by harsh chemicals such as ammonia, bleach, and alcohol. It's great for schools, daycares, nurseries, hospitals, long-term care facilities, football facilities, office buildings, households, and more. It's available in wipe and ready-to-use spray. So for quantity, size, details, contact Todd Abbott at wipesandgloves@gmail.com. Wipesandgloves@gmail.com.
Dude, you have to do your, mouthing exercises?
I do.
That's a lot of words right there.
I feel like the Iowa quarterback on second down.
All right, my reign has officially kicked in.
Yes, sir.
It's on. So we got to get to Jimbo before this gets over with too. All right, I want to talk real quick about the Sun Belt Conference. How about this weekend that they had? We got App State going in, which we can talk about it here in a second. We got App State going into A&M and beating A&M. We got our guys at the Jags, 5-point dogs, going up to Central Michigan and winning, which we got them on alert this week. We got my Quick U team of the week today, the Georgia Southern Eagles, with an upset of Scott Frost and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And then we got the Marshall Thundering Herd going into Notre Dame and beating Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
How about that?
We got all kinds of stuff to talk about on this one now.
I mean, Marshall, that was a hell of a show from the Thundering Herd, and it also makes you wonder what exactly is going to happen with Notre Dame. They lost their quarterback out for the year. Dude, Irish got issues now.
If you look at it, I'm just saying.
They got issues. I'll tell you where game day's not going this year at South Bend.
If you look at it, and this is being dead honest.
Yeah.
You look at their schedule.
Yep.
They are going to have a difficult time getting to 6 wins.
Read me their schedule.
All right, here we go.
I'll give you my quick reactions, W's, L's.
All right, give me 10 seconds here.
Sure.
All right. Damn it, I got to find it.
That's fine. While you're doing that, I'll tell people again, because I like to remind people, because they made this show possible. Reign Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits, achieve your goals. It doesn't break your fast. And you can check them out on Instagram at Reign Body Fuel to learn more.
All right, so they're at 0-2. I'm just going to pull up on here. My phone is tripping.
Okay.
They're 0-2. And here's what they got left.
All right.
All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
They got Cal at home this week.
Cal at home. Certainly winnable.
Yeah, winnable.
Cal's not very good.
They're 2-0, but it's winnable. So let's give them that one. So
okay.
They're going to be 1-2.
Okay.
Then they got North Carolina at North Carolina.
Loss. Not winning. Carolina's good. Carolina's going to score a lot of points.
Yeah.
And I don't think Notre Dame can score with them. So 1-3.
They got to go on the road to BYU.
Oh, it's an L. Dude, they're good.
They're good. Matter of fact,
BYU Baylor was as good a game as you'll see all year.
We're going to get to it in a minute if we got time. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to tell you right now, BYU is an underdog this week at Oregon.
I know, I love it already. It's one of my picks.
Write this down.
Okay.
If BYU wins this weekend, they may sneak into the college football playoff because they're probably going to go undefeated. And they've beaten Baylor. They would have beaten Oregon.
They still have to play Arkansas. Who else is left on their schedule?
Notre Dame. They get that name recognition win.
Sure.
You can't say they haven't played anybody.
Sure.
You can't keep them out if they're undefeated. All right. Stanford.
Ooh, probably a loss, but it's winnable.
Let's give them a win.
Okay, it's a win.
All right. So now we're sitting at
2 wins.
No, 3 wins.
Okay.
They're 3 and what's that? 3 and they got losses. North Carolina, BYU. They're 3 and 4.
Okay.
UNLV.
Probably a win. 4.
Yeah. 4 and 4.
4 and 4.
They have to go to Syracuse.
Loss.
4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
They got Clemson.
A loss.
It's 4 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Navy.
Probably a win.
Let's give it to them.
Okay.
Boston College.
It's winnable.
We're going to close it out with USC.
Loss.
Like, dude, they're in danger. And how does Notre Dame handle that? First year, and did you watch his press conference?
You can't fire him after 1 year.
Did you watch his press conference?
I did not.
Watch it if you don't mind sometime in all your free time between your 878,000 podcasts. He seemed to be look, I've always said this. This is probably why I would be a terrible head coach. I would not be accommodating to the media as far as when it comes to this. They led him into questions, and he answered them with it was like his, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like all the blame is on me. He was like, well, that's possible. You know, he gave too many leading questions and kept opening the doors to follow-up questions.
Yeah.
When you get a question that you know is going to be negative or whatever it is, you shut it off. You just you answer it the way you do, so there's no follow. You shut it down for follow-up questions if it's not going to be well. It's not going to do good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if somebody asks you a question, like this was my move, you would have hated this, but you would never ask me stuff like this. I had one time I had a guy that kept asking me about, it was in our transition between Arkansas State and here.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed and coached the bowl game. And so I knew he had a job to do, but he every day he kept asking me, hey, are you going to go to Ole Miss? Hey, are you going to Ole Miss when this bowl game's over? Hey, are you going to go to Ole Miss? And so for the first couple of days, I was like, you know, I kind of had my standard, I already knew the truth. But my standard answer was, hey, I'm going to concentrate on these guys. I gave the cliche answer. I'm going to concentrate on the guys in this team until January 9th. On January 10th, I'll wake up. Me and my wife will have a conversation, and we'll figure out what the future holds.
Okay.
That was the standard answer. I answered it 3 days in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. Same question, 3 days in a row, because there was only 4 coaches left at Arkansas State. So day 5, he asked me the same question again. And so I literally went straight in. Well, 7-on-7 was really good today. I thought the receivers moved really well. Quarterback was on time. And he goes, no, I was asking about, I said, yeah, you know, and the tempo was really good. Inside was good. So if you keep, and he was like, why did you, I said, you keep asking me stupid questions, I'll keep giving you stupid answers. Yeah,
well, once he asked that the second time and you gave this cliche answer, you just say, okay.
Well, I told him off.
Then what you say at that point is you go, what I was going to say is I would wait. And I would have said, all right, look, you know I had to ask you this. I'm not going to keep bugging you with it. But here's what I'd like. Here's what I'd request. When the game's over and this is done, I need to ask you that. And I need to get a more real answer.
And that's why we like you, Neal.
Right. But I wouldn't have kept asking you that question on the record, but I already know the answer, and that's what you're going to say. And okay, cool.
And that's why we like you, Neal.
And then off the record, I would say you're leaving, aren't you? And you probably would be like, yeah.
Yes.
And at which point I would say, hey.
This was one of those guys I couldn't trust.
The night of that game, when that game's over, when the clock's hit 0.
Let's talk.
Can I get that?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Even if it's a source told me?
Absolutely.
Right.
Thanks, Neal. Thank you. Have a great Christmas. All right. So I don't even know what guy's down that damn rabbit hole. But anyway, Notre Dame is going to have a tough time.
You were talking about Marcus Freeman's press conference.
Marcus Freeman's press conference. He was just it was weird, man. It was a weird vibe.
You know, I like him a lot. I'm high on him. I will say this. He is he's fast becoming the poster child for why. Like, I love Kane's career path. Okay?
Yep.
I do. I love it. I love it, and here's why. And I'm not criticizing Marcus Freeman for taking the Notre Dame job. For God's sake, of course it got offered, you take it.
10 out of 10 times.
But in an ideal world, Marcus Freeman coaches at Marshall for a couple of years.
Gets a little training on the job.
Yeah, because like Kane was a lower assistant at Ole Miss.
Yep.
He got, what was his
Eastern
first job?
Illinois.
He went to Eastern Illinois. Nobody in the world notices. Then he landed with Tom Allen at Indiana.
Actually, I think it's Tennessee Martin first.
Okay.
I'm glad it was Georgia calling. I'll have to call you back, James.
Yeah, but he started at those places. But then he got his coordinator gig at Indiana and turned that into the South Alabama job. And the South Alabama job's a good job. It's a real good job.
Yeah.
But there's not a ton of media covering you there. There's enough that you do some radio stuff on NSP and whatever. And, you know, the AL.com covers you. Back in the day, the Mobile Register would cover you, whatever. And every once in a while, somebody else would come over and do something. But
you get to do a 5:15 a.m. spot with Lee Shervanian.
You do that. So, but you get to do some stuff where you're training because you need to do that stuff.
Yeah.
You need to do media because if you ever get the big job, you're going to do media. It's a part of your gig.
Correct.
It's literally in the damn contract. You're going to do
That's
media.
where you technically get most of your money from.
So, but you can screw up. Kane can have a bad moment with media and nobody ever notices it.
Right.
When you're the head coach at Notre Dame, you're always on.
Yep. And
so you just can get off to a bad start, and it's hard to steer out of it. It's why we've talked about Matt before. You know, we both are friends with Matt Luke. In an ideal world, Matt Luke doesn't get the Ole Miss job when he gets it. He gets Louisiana Tech or South Alabama or someplace like that, coaches a few years, does a really good job, and then lands an Ole Miss type job with training.
He's got the best job ever right now, though.
He does. He's getting paid to go play golf and not have to worry about his score even.
Yeah, I texted him Friday morning at like 8. I didn't even have to ask him. I just texted him 4. He went right.
But you get my point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and if you're Notre Dame, here's the lesson. Boy, we really like this guy. We liked this guy. There's everything about him. And it might end up being okay because he might recruit his way out of it. But, boy, we need to recruit it. We need to go hire an experienced guy.
Well, yeah, and I like him too. I think he's a great coach. I've gone from rain to nicotine. Here we go. He'll be fine. The thing is, like, I felt like he opened himself up for criticism in the press conference, and he could have shut it down.
Yeah.
And like, does that make sense?
Sure. Like, but he's a young guy.
He was trying to please everybody instead of
very likable.
Because it doesn't matter if you're like this or not. You're still the head coach of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And so just don't open yourself up to the criticism.
Right.
But anyway, Marshall does that, and then you want to go ahead and hit it. What do you want to do? Georgia Southern first, or go A&M first?
We'll touch Georgia Southern quickly. I do want to get to A&M
right,
because A&M is what people are really interested in.
Yeah. So Georgia Southern, I hope people rode with me. I don't know if you remember last week on the podcast, I said if the Miller Lite hits right.
Yep.
And it did.
Mm-hmm.
I may or may not.
You did.
Sprinkle the money line on Georgia Southern.
You did.
And, dude, the Miller Lite hit right, and then I start seeing all these Sunbelt upsets. I'm like, I'm riding with the Sunbelt.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, plus 1250, cuz.
Good for you.
Good Saturday.
I bet.
Good Saturday on that. So that was fun. It ends up getting Scott Frost fired, which we can talk about in a second. But let's get to our good friends at Appalachian State.
Yes, sir.
So they go down. Somebody had asked me on the deal, was I surprised? I knew it would be closer than.
Is that a quick U client?
No.
App State?
No.
A&M?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got to be nice here.
Well, you have to be nice. I don't have to be nice.
Here's the deal: it was a good matchup for App State because offensively of what A&M is doing. We talked on the podcast last week about A&M when they played Sam Houston. They made a lot of big plays. They didn't have a lot of sustained drives, and I believe you have to sustaining drives, whether it's 3 points or 7 points. Sustaining drives is the key to understanding how well an offense is clicking and executing. Then you got to figure out how to execute in the red zone as a schematics problem, whatever. But they didn't sustain drives against Sam Houston. They were hitting big plays and having busted coverages and things like that.
Right.
Haynes King's missed some throws in that game, but again, some of them were covered up. When you're playing a bad team, all right, I know this town's going through this right now.
Sure.
Okay, do you want me to tell you what you can get out of those games?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Nothing.
All right, like
I wrote in 10 thoughts. I don't like them. The TV networks hate them. I think they're going away. I do. I think they're going. I had a friend in athletics say those games are already 2 feet in the ground, and when the new TV contracts come out, they're going to be 6 feet in the ground.
Yeah, I think you're going to see the FCS games go away. You may see some like South Alabama, UCLA, and things like that, but you're not going to see the Central Arkansas.
That's different.
And Sam Houston. Well, I guess Sam Houston's going to FBS too.
But you're not going to see any
FCS
games.
Like Gardner Webb, they played
over.
somebody close.
It's over.
Weekend.
It's over. TV doesn't like those games, and
no.
and why would you go to that game as a fan?
And you can't. And Vegas doesn't have lines on them, for the most part.
Yeah,
bookies and stuff.
There's just a lot of negatives to them. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, so App State came in here, and App State's a good football team.
Yeah.
They showed it the week before. They're competitive. They've always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
They have the quarterback's a Clemson transfer or Georgia transfer. I can't remember which one, but he was a good quarterback out of high school. It was a bad matchup, and at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised, and you and I talked about that this morning, and I talked about it with everybody else. I think Max Johnson is about the only thing that they can do from an answer standpoint.
Okay.
Everybody's blaming this on Haynes King. All right, and this is a great topic for this podcast especially. Quarterbacks are not just, you don't see the kid, he's Johnny 4-star, he's Johnny 5-star, whatever. It has to fit to your system.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And a coach, and I've said this from 100 years, and I'll keep saying it. A good football coach, his job is not to draw up some crazy plays. His job is to take the skill set of the players that he has and put them in the best possible situation to be successful. It's not about scheme. It's about making your players that you have, make those guys successful. And so when you look at what Haynes King is not a pocket passer quarterback. He's a guy that needs to be on the move. He's athletic, and he can make throws on the run. If he sits back in the pocket, he's going to spray things. And what is he doing? He's spraying things, and he's not able to use his full skill set. But I've watched the kid. The kid's talented. Now, Max Johnson's a little bit more is a pocket passer, and is probably a little bit more efficient pocket passer.
Can they protect him?
Yeah, I think you can do some things in protection. You got to just mix it up. Like going back, you got to mix it up. You got to do some things. But
what you're saying is that A&M has gotten predictable.
Yeah, they're just bogged down a little bit, and it's having a tough time sustaining drives.
Okay.
That's where it comes down. Do they have great players? Yes. But when you have great skill players like they have, get the skill players in space and let them be successful. Here's the tricky part. A&M could literally, there's a lot of teams, when you wake up talking about overreaction Monday, you can look at their schedule and go, they can lose. You can start out 1-7 or whatever it was.
Well, here it is.
All right. Well, you can, but they have enough ass to kick ass now.
I know they do. But you can paint a scenario where this goes wrong.
Sure you can.
And it's not unrealistic, is my point.
Yeah.
Because they're not sustaining drives right now.
Correct.
And they've got to go, they play Miami on Saturday night at home.
That's Quick U versus Quick U.
They're a 5.5-point favorite.
Yep.
They go play Arkansas the week after that in Dallas in Jerry World in the what they have a name for that game and I can't think of it. I refer to it as the
Jerry World game.
I refer to it as the weekend that I spend a lot of money in Dallas and don't get to go. I think every student on the Arkansas campus goes to that game, and it's like one giant party, and it's very expensive. Anyway, that's beside the point. Then they get Mississippi State in Starkville. That's not a gimme.
No.
At all. Then they go to Alabama.
I like their chances in that one, though.
Okay.
Because of DJ Durkin.
Then they go to Alabama.
He's got a good plan for that.
Go to Alabama. L.
Yeah.
Got to go to South Carolina.
That's not a slam dunk.
Got Ole Miss at home. Got Florida at home. And then they go to Auburn. Now, look, they're going to win some of those games. But, I mean, if I told you over under 2.5 wins for A&M against Ole Miss at home, Florida at home, and at Auburn, do you go over or under?
Say the 3 games one more time. Auburn.
Home against Ole Miss.
Okay.
Home against Florida.
Okay.
At Auburn.
They win 2 of the 3.
Okay, so you go under on the 2.5, so that's an L. This is my point. They've already got 1 L. Bama's going to beat them. That's 2 L's. They're going to lose one of those 3 games in your scenario. They might lose more, but they go. Let's say you're right, and they go 2-1 in that stretch. That's 3 L's.
Yeah.
So if they lose to Miami or Arkansas or State, okay, so I'll do this. Let's do this one. This is a foursome. If I make the over/under 3.5 wins in these 4 games,
okay,
Miami at home, Texas A&M in Dallas, Arkansas in Dallas, at Mississippi State, at South Carolina. You giving them 4 or less?
Less.
Okay, so there's a loss. That's 1, 2, 3 with Bama, and then 1 in the other ones, and that's before they play LSU at the end. That's
so
8. That's
you're
8.
Looking at 8-4 season.
Well, 8-4 is going to get a lot of heat on Jimbo, and anything worse than that, and I can get you worse fast, because that's losing. Yeah. That's winning 2 of the 3. It's winning 3 of the 4. Miami, Arkansas, Mississippi State, South Carolina. They could easily go 2-2 in those 4.
To me, that's what's so scary about coaching security in this league right now. Because besides Alabama and besides Georgia, it's a damn gauntlet, and you could end up with a bunch of 7-5, 8-4 teams.
Well, they ain't paying him to go 8-4.
That's my point.
Right.
Okay.
And so 7-5, which I can easily get you to 7-5, and in fact, I think that's probably where they finish. If I get you to 7-5, there is no consolation trophy there. 7-5 and a trip to the Texas Bowl, and people are going to be screaming about him. And I know he's owed $90 million, and this is where, and I'm going to set you up.
Yep. You going to throw it up for me?
Yeah. Here comes the curveball. Here comes the curveball.
Hanging it.
Hey, when you speak of me, speak well.
I got it.
If he goes 7-5, no, firing a coach that's owed $90 million is insanity, and it's not going to happen. Asking said coach to relinquish offensive coordinator duties.
You may go Tyler Siskey AD on you?
Yeah, is not out of the realm. So if you're Ross Bjork and company and this team, let me do a schedule that is realistic. Okay.
You talking about my man, my favorite person, Ross Bjork, that's on my Christmas card list forever, and that's not a joke.
Let's give them a split. Let's give them a split between Miami and Arkansas. However you want to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Let's give them a win at Mississippi State. Let's give them a loss to Alabama. Let's give them a win at South Carolina. Let's give them a split of Ole Miss and Florida at home. Hell, let's give them 2 of the 3. You say you're right. Ole Miss, Florida, Auburn. They win 2 of those games. Still got to play LSU. But let's go 7-5. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's 5 losses. 7-5.
What would Tyler Siskey AD do?
When you sit down after the LSU game, before you go announce that week that you're waiting for the SEC championship game to get played, so that you can announce to your ticket holders that you're going to the Texas Bowl. What do you say in that meeting?
If you go and try to buy the guy, what are we looking at? $90 million probably at that time?
Yeah, you're not. That's not on the table.
It's not on the table, right? So instead of trying to come up with that, it may be on the table for next year either.
So you're trying to fix it. How would you fix it?
I would go to Norman, Oklahoma, and I would pay Jeff Lebby $5 million a year.
Okay.
Because that's going to be more money he's going to make as a head coach anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Give him a 4-year deal for $20 million, 4-year deal. Name him head coach in waiting.
Would Jimbo do that?
I don't know, because you don't have any power when you do that. Because Jimbo would just say, "No, I'm not doing that. Fire me." See, right. Jimbo's got all the stroke here.
Sure.
That's where people are confused.
That's where Ross is in trouble, because he's the one that gave that contract.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude.
I don't know if he. No, I'm saying I don't know if he.
Right.
You know.
But there you go. Start looking for fall guys.
That's the trick, and that's what I hate about the whole.
I understand.
You know, athletic directors, they have stroke, but they only have so much stroke.
Because here's what I always tell people, and you saw it in their media Saturday. It is so easy to do this. Like Chase and I have this exercise all the time, and I remind him. He looks at it and goes, "Well, you know, you can explain that." The emotions lead to crazy stuff. Here's an example. I know this for a fact. The plan at Nebraska up until Saturday night was to wait until October the 1st when the buyout dropped. But you know what led to it?
Actually, I do.
Some of their money people said, we play Oklahoma big noon Saturday. I don't want him on the sidelines. We've got to show that we're moving on. They're going to eat that money.
Let me tell you what it was, though, too.
Because of feelings.
Well,
go ahead.
He's one of their own. They knew this was going to be deep. They took care of one of their own guys.
Sure.
They said, hey, we're moving on at the end of the year. We've made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to leave now and take your 15, or you want to leave after October and take 7.5? They gave him that option.
Okay.
They're taking care of one of their own guys.
But they put that
the guy's a legend there.
But they put that on the table because of emotions.
Yeah, but because of the good they take care of their own.
Okay.
It wasn't a you're so bad, get out of here emotion as much as it was, hey, look.
And it was bad.
And look, Trev Alberts,
yeah,
him and Scott played together, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a, hey, get out of here, I'm going to lose $8 million. Trev Alberts can't sign off on paying somebody $8 million.
Will Scott Frost get another coaching job ever?
Yeah. The guy's a good football coach.
Is that a bad job?
Absolutely.
So who's realistic for Nebraska that could change anything?
Here's the problem Scott Frost had in Nebraska. He went and took over a program, and he had to completely retool the personnel for his schematics. And it just takes time to do that. Look what's happening at Georgia Tech right now with Jeff Collins. You think Jeff Collins became a bad football coach overnight?
No.
No, he went from triple option to trying to go spread. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and when we talk about ADs making decisions,
mm-hmm.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Keith Carter's pissed at Lane Kiffin. You think he can go in there and fire Lane Kiffin today?
Absolutely
so
not.
He had ADs. That's what I'm trying to say. Is everybody needs to calm their cat on what kind of
sure.
They have stroke. Don't get me wrong. ADs have stroke, but that stroke is not as big of a stick as everybody thinks it is.
It's not as big as the person who can write the big check.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
People get confused on where the stroke and where the contract negotiations and who comes up with the money and the
check
contracts.
the check that it would take to walk in and fire Lane Kiffin right now is probably 9 figures.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be some insane amount.
You got to really do. Does that make sense?
Of course.
They got stroke, but fans need to know that, though. I want fans to understand that. But
so who's realistic at a place like Nebraska that could do better than what they've done? Because they're not good. Now, I had someone tell me today that they've got all this money lined up for NIL, and they're going to
they're not hurting with money now.
They're going to get in the transfer portal, and they're going to be super active.
Already done that.
So who's the guy who would be on your list?
For me, it has to be a cultural fit and
mm-hmm.
a recruiting fit.
Yeah.
All right. So fit is so important, and I'm not talking about does he eat corn and like flat ground. I'm not talking about that. When I'm talking about recruiting fit, is you got to go find somebody that can win with less. If you're trying to go to Nebraska and win the recruiting rankings, you're not going to succeed.
Right.
All right. Scott Frost tried that, and Scott Frost was doing a good job of getting highly ranked players out there.
Yep.
Guess what happened?
They didn't win.
They transferred.
Yeah.
Because it's a different place.
Right.
You have to have people that know how to win with less. One, and that you can't look at the recruiting rankings. You got to trust people know how to evaluate. And for me, the top two that come to mind, which is going to be hot names, are Lance Leopold. That's at Kansas. All right. He is one. He's kind of like the Brian Kelly. He's won everywhere he's been.
Yep.
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing that in Kansas, which, by the way, they're a dog this weekend. At Houston. 9.5, by the way.
It's a big line.
Big line.
Mm-hmm.
Underdog week. And then my man at Iowa State, Matt Campbell.
Would he go? I'm told Leipold would definitely go.
What did I say, Leopold?
Yeah.
I did. I just called myself.
I'm told he would definitely go. The question
Do
I have
you take it? I know. How dumb does that sound? Do you leave Kansas to go to Nebraska?
I'm told he would.
Is that the craziest thing I've ever said in my life?
I'm told he would. Now, would Matt Campbell? I don't know.
I don't
know. Matt Campbell's got a pretty good gig.
All right, here. I want fans to know this. Coaches aren't fans of anything. Do you know what we're fans of?
Winning and making money.
Say that last part.
Making money.
Paycheck. Taking care of the family. Your loyalty lies at the house.
Sure.
I don't understand why, and some coaches are like this, I don't understand why you would leave a very comfortable job to go take that you're going to coach for a long time and go to a job that you know is going to be a pressure cooker. Now, we'll give Nebraska this credit. They gave Scott Frost every opportunity. They were very patient. But I got a friend of mine that's a head coach and talks to me about taking other head coaching jobs. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? And I had to have the conversation with him, and I was like, dude, you're getting paid $4 million, and they'll never fire you. Why would you ever leave? And we had to have that conversation, and I think that's – I don't know why coaches would do that, but I would say the short list, and then don't be surprised if Oklahoma goes and puts up a show this weekend in Lincoln, Nebraska.
You're implying that Jeff Lebby might want to impress a few people?
He's going to be a hot name.
Yeah, for sure. All right, last thing.
Yep.
Teasing Thursday's show a little bit. I've gathered from talking to you that you think this is a big underdog week in college football.
I may pick all 6 underdogs set for Thursday. I love the dogs.
There are a few that I really like. I don't count out my boys in Mobile.
Are you gonna roll it back? It's money line. You rolling it back?
It's on the list.
Going out to UCLA.
I like Georgia Southern getting 12.5.
How about that? Georgia Southern getting 12.5 at UAB. Who lost to Liberty?
I like Miami at A&M. I'm not
Everybody's
sold on it yet, but I'm interested in it.
What about Penn State at Auburn?
Oh, I just don't know, man. I still, my gut tells me Auburn wins.
They have major. Here's the thing: it pisses me off. They look good at every place but quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, it's bad, dude. It's
the quarterback plays bad, but everything else is pretty good. That defense is good.
Yeah. Here's a great example of what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie Ashford, okay? And I know Grimes watched him play. If anybody wants to see why we recruited Robbie Ashford to whose offense we were going to be recruiting to?
Rich Rodriguez.
Go watch that son-of-a-bitch run.
Yeah.
He can fly. He was going to be a stud in that offense, and he could throw it actually pretty good, not terrible. But he's getting on the field making plays in Auburn, and but T.J. Finley, just bad decision-making, man. Just, God almighty. I bet I'd have graded him at like 50% on what I watched the other day. It was terrible. It was decision-making.
So if you were Auburn, you'd put Ashford in there and
hell yeah,
say, let's just do it.
Let's just do it and live with his mistakes and teach him, because the guy can make plays. I mean, hell, he can turn around and hand the ball off just as good as T.J. Finley.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to throw an interception when you're throwing or throw it a short hop, hell, I can do that.
I freaking love BYU getting 3.5.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, my hot take, everybody will watch out. We're going to have college football playoff conversations about BYU before it's all said and done. Don't let me down, BYU. They dominated that game physically the other night.
They did. And Baylor and Baylor doesn't good. And they don't get dominated much.
No. And they had their top 2 wide receivers out and still threw the ball around a lot. I mean, the quarterback's a baller.
No, he's a player.
Michigan State is an underdog on the road at Washington.
I know.
I'll be quick. You ready on that one? Come Thursday. And then what's your guts on this Mississippi State at LSU?
It's a weird line. I kind of like LSU getting points at home.
Dude, all right. So I
really do.
I went back and watched the game last night.
Okay.
Because I had the Sunday night game on, but I had my other 3 games I wanted to catch up, so I just turned that one on. Watched Syracuse, watched them. They still didn't have the problems corrected. Like, I got the special teams fixed. They block punts and things. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the Ole Miss game was Saturday because they were playing somebody real bad. But Jaden Daniels still was having like the big plays because he was scrambling and guys were not getting open. That's concerning.
So you like State?
I don't know yet. I'm just saying that. I don't know, but that's going to be I don't know if I'm going to pick that game. That's what kind of like I'm both sides. They're both Quick U clients. By the way, we'll be announcing LSU tomorrow.
You just announced it here.
I just announced it here. We'll be announcing them publicly on Twitter and stuff tomorrow.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, we got one coming out tomorrow and one coming out. So we're going to NC State, I think, on Wednesday. And then we got one more coming out we're going to put out next Tuesday.
I thought you already had NC State.
Well, we're going to publicly.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
We just haven't released it yet. All about marketing, you know. And then let's leave them with this, since we got a bunch of Ole Miss fans on here.
Okay.
Let's talk about this Ole Miss Georgia Tech game.
I love the under. Give me the under.
Look, if you're an Ole Miss fan,
into my veins.
Look, you can blame it on me. You can call me binocular kid or whatever you want to if you lose this one.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and go ahead and get the Ole Miss Georgia Tech under at 60.
Yep.
Go ahead and go do it.
Yep.
Because
I'm with you.
I have a tough time believing this thing ain't going to be like 54 or 53 by the end of the week.
It's got 27-17 kind of written all over it. 30-17, 31-14. It's got that kind. It's got a score in the upper 40s, low 50s written all over it. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin today still not ready to declare a quarterback. which tells me that he just doesn't necessarily believe in one of them yet. It's what it tells me. I mean, because look, I realize this is a kinder, gentler, more touchy-feely Lane Kiffin than usual.
I never knew that one.
But he's not afraid to name a quarterback. He's not naming a quarterback because he's not ready to name a quarterback. Look, it's not any more complicated than that.
Look, you can say anybody can say what they want to say about Lane. He's not going to bullshit you.
No.
In media either. Like, he would tell you the same thing off camera.
Well, he has told people. Neither one of them's won the job.
I mean, and
they both do bad things. Every time he gets ready to go with one, that one screws something up, and he goes, I don't know, and so they're going to do another week of that. My point is even guys on offense are admitting that, it makes it weird, because you got different quarterbacks or whatnot. That offense hasn't gelled yet. They run the ball. They run it well. They haven't played anybody yet, so there's going to be a little speed of game adjustment week.
That's going to be the big thing because they played them backwards, probably the wrong way. They played Troy week 1.
They should have played Central Arkansas week 1, and then
they went
Troy.
backwards, speed of game wise.
Right.
Okay, I watched like 3 possessions
Egregious.
of the game. Okay, I watched up until the first block punt, which was early, and then I turned on. I guess it was one of the games at halftime, and I saw, everybody's like, "Oh, Mingo's back and Jackson Dart and this and that." I mean, he throws a post that's picked any other week.
Mm-hmm.
And the speed of the game.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to get that open. And the speed of the game is going to be, I think they'll catch up quick, but, I mean, if you can stop them for 2 or 3 possessions, you're hitting the under. I guess that's my point.
And then I don't think Georgia Tech's going to score much on this
Georgia
defense.
Tech's going to have a tough time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The only way Georgia Tech wins this game, which I don't even see that happening.
Turnovers.
It's going to have to be massive amounts of turnovers.
Yep.
And not just turnover. I don't even think that's enough. I think it has to be turnovers into deep into your own territory with field position and pick sixes, and I just don't think that's the deal because what Lane can do, and I wouldn't be surprised if this game is close at all. If it's close at all for some reason, like it's a 10-10 game or something at halftime, I can see Lane coming out and turn around and hand it to 6 and hand it to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Quinshon's 4, right?
Yep.
And then just saying, we're going to beat you on the ground. And then that's clock running, we're going. I just don't. I
think that's where his frustration's coming from. He knows he can do that, but he knows that he can't do that for long, right? You can do that against Georgia Tech. You can do it next week against Tulsa. Starting with Kentucky, that won't do it.
I don't know if it'll do it against Vandy.
Look, they'll have to play. Yeah, no, I mean, don't get me wrong.
They'll be fine.
Ole Miss is going to beat Vandy.
Don't misquote me.
But yeah, no, but you've got games.
You know what I'm saying.
But you've got games coming up against defensive teams. Kentucky's going to be really good on defense. They are really good on defense. Auburn's very good on defense.
Yeah.
If Auburn had strong quarterback play, we'd be having a different conversation about Auburn, but their quarterback play is so shaky that it makes it different. But they're very good on defense. Then after that, you're going to play athletes at LSU when you go there. A&M's got athletes on defense. Then Alabama, then Arkansas. It's about to get real. And so
you can't be one-dimensional in this league.
And to his everlasting credit, he knows it. He's forcing it, and I think that's where his frustration is coming from.
And look, I coached on, here's the truth, and you can call it what you want to call it. All right, the 2 years I was here, 2 seasons I was here, we were one-dimensional on offense both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So the first year, we were one-dimensional passing. We had all these guys to throw to.
And couldn't throw it to them, yeah.
Well, you can do it in other games. But when you get in the SEC.
Sure, that's what I mean.
If
they know
SEC play, if you look at whatever year, was it 18?
Yeah.
If you look at our score versus SEC teams' points per game, and SEC games versus conference games is drastic.
Well, it's like hitting. Like if you tell a major league hitter, here's what's coming, their average is going to be obscene.
Yeah.
Because they're great. If you tell an SEC defense, here's what's coming, they're going to stop it.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. The next year, 19, we were running the ball. Now, it gave us the best chance to win because when you're throwing it every down, if you're going, I will say this, if you're going to be one-dimensional running the football.
Right.
All right, because you can shorten the game, you can give yourself a fighting chance, eat clock, you can give your chance to win. When you are one-dimensional throwing the football, you're going to get freaking toasted in the league.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit who you are and who you got to throw to because if it only takes one incompletion and then they're pinning their ears back.
All right, well, we'll come back on Thursday. We'll have our picks, 5 college, 5 pro, and a money line.
Need to answer the super chat.
Oh, yeah. Worst meal.
All right, real quick, worst meal, South Georgia, recruiting a kid, had like squirrel and I won't say possum and squirrel, and it was just gamey. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
it's horrible.
And like I choked it down. I was like, oh, it's so good. It was so terrible. It was in South Georgia. I remember the kid.
Was the kid worth it?
Yeah, he's playing in the NFL.
Okay, so it's worth it.
Yeah. Good player.
What team?
Yeah.
What team?
What team
does he play for?
Let me look it up. Go ahead.
All right.
Finish what you got to do. I'll look it up by the time you get
done.
All
right, so we'll come back on Thursday. While Tyler looks that up, we'll come back on Thursday. We'll have our 5 college picks, 5 NFL picks.
Ravens.
Plays for the Ravens, okay. And we'll have our 1 money line underdog of the week, although there might be a lot of underdogs based on that conversation. So we'll come back Thursday and do that. Again, thanks to our friends at Rain. Rain Total Body Fuel. 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, 0 sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. Gron's got a guess in the thread. Is he right?
That is not right.
It's not right. Okay. So it's not Mrs. Smith.
No.
It's another Mrs. All right, we'll stop there. So thanks to everybody for being with us. A lot of fun. For Tyler, I'm Neal. Take care.